Yeah, conference report. I didn't. I didn't reply on that part because I just talked on the prostitution thing, and I haven't watched all these videos. I mean, Peach referred to so many videos. There's obviously this wide conversation. But yeah, it's interesting because Gary had noted the same thing that you end up noting, which is it's not really fair her style. And I hadn't even thought about the fact that she just changed the color tone and lighting quality. She dulled up your thing, which is funny because she's attractive and careful with her enunciation and everything, and just is presenting something, uh, you know, in high definition there type situation. And so for her to bracket those people and less flattering lighting and stuff shows, maybe, if she didn't care about those things, it wouldn't show the same thing that it shows since she does care about those things. Now, seeing you in the video is still a little shocking, even out of context. I mean, I know you well enough to see how that is out of context, and yet it was still funny to hear those words out of your mouth. And I would have to say, probably they go too far and make a weak part of your argument, but it is certainly not really fair when you're trying to characterize people to characterize it that way. And really, in such a simple thing, trying to convince people this is just a morality and sexual hang-up. I mean, this is something we debate among libertarians and people that believe in that by default people should be allowed to do something that doesn't harm anybody else, that isn't voluntarily been involved. And we have a lot of reasons to discuss, and to just put it down to something so simple as, oh, you just all have sexual hang-ups, that's pretty pathetic way to approach a problem like this, I think. And also, I just don't know how passionate I can get because, Gary, for example, and you are on the anti-prostitution side of this, and yet when the videos I have watched, it seems like most people are saying that in some sense a woman has a right to sell her body for sex, or a man has a right to sell his body for sex. But we're discussing what kinds of regulations are appropriate. We have human rights, there's employee rights against being sexually harassed, there's all kinds of issues that have to be addressed. There are human rights issues, there are various social issues that we have to take into account to figure out how to regulate something like prostitution. And also, you don't get to just say, well, in principle, it's fine. You have to look in reality, and it doesn't seem like Peach necessarily wants to look in reality. People don't want to be, like her reaction to the fact that some sex workers might be directed to sex work due to their own sexual hang-ups and sexual confusion and being the result of abuse. It's definitely wrong to assume that's the case with any given individual, but demographically, you can look at the group and you can just figure out if that's the case or not, and that has to be taken into account. And having a legal system has to take into account, human rights protections for people that might not be thinking entirely straight. For example, you can't just use the argument that people should be free to do whatever they want with their bodies to say, and therefore they should be able to sell themselves into slavery. No, because that starts to violate a general human right. It needs to be ubiquitous. So yeah, it was pretty unfair, obviously, what she did, but I don't watch her videos, and that's why when I started on YouTube, I edited my videos. I'd been podcasting, and I found, well, it's pretty easy. You edit out the pauses and stuff. And, I stopped doing it because I noticed that when you're, if you're producing skits and comedy and even stand-up comedy, that's sort of on the borderline, fine. But for conversational issues, I found that I appreciated people that didn't chop their videos up. It might make the video a little bit longer, but you can see when they get themselves confused. You can see, they're not editing out things they're not sure about, and you get a bigger package. And I thought it was better communication to convey that, including the fact that I might say something might come through from some unconscious thought that I might, when I'm watching the video, like to edit out because I don't understand it or it wasn't what I was consciously trying for. And I just feel that's important information. You know, the unconscious information that's going to come unbidden into a conscious uh, speech is important. Allowing that to come through is a part of the honesty. And a video like hers is obviously not designed to emphasize that.